Tell me when you're ready. Okay, hi everybody. We're just about ready to get into the presentation hour. After that, once all the presentations have been done, the judges will go off and we will start reviewing our information and judge all the apps. You may have missed, I talked about the civic app criteria, that the judging criteria that we will be using for that. 10% for the user experience, 30% for increment and innovation, 30% on impact, potential, and sustainability. And the fourth category is sharing and resource collaboration will be another 30% of the total vote. And so we've got 3 prizes for the best civic app. We have upped the amount, the dollar amount, thanks to City Council, putting in another $500. So we are now up to $1,500. Thank you. We now see a lot of happy faces. So our first place prize is now $1,500. Our second place prize is $750. And the third place, can someone remind me? Thank you, Sandy. $500. Our best app, as chosen by City Council, that will be a $100 gift card to each team member. So we're sort of waiting, and that's a Best Buy gift card. So we're sort of waiting on what the winning team is, because it may be one individual that wins, and so that number may change. And then we also have prizes that are going to be judged by 2 of our sponsors that are here. Best use of the Esri app, and that is a $1,000 prize. Is that correct, Andy? And we have a $100 prize, thank you very much, from Constant Contact, and that is on the best use of their API. So we have a lot of great prizes. Are you, the team, developers, are you ready now to present? Okay, so before you present, I, as well as the rest of our city staff, St. Vrain School District, City Council members, our sponsors, we want to thank you for coming here. Would you stand up, please, so we can give you a big thank you? Thank you for taking the time this weekend. We appreciate it greatly. So we are so excited to see what you have been working so hard on this weekend. Okay. Who's first on our list? Can someone bring that list up to me, perhaps, or... Yeah. Okay, so this is the Electron. Actually, it was like an actual clicker. You know, like, yeah, it was a dongle, so it had to communicate with.
Okay, so, you know how, what? Stay there. Whatever you have, just stay there.
Display their presence. Oh. You can either take notes and fill out the form later, or fill out the form as being presented. So, okay, so, no, we just the form, the online form. All right, so where's my sign-up list to tell me, thank you. All right, so our first team name is Captain Falcon. And what, I'm sorry, what was the app that you're talking about? Sign up. Team name, oh, okay. Person to call up, Seth. And the rest of the team. All right. So I'm going to hand this over to Seth.
Okay, so we first, this is loud, we first got our data sets, and we were looking at them on school on Friday before the hackathon started, and we were kind of throwing ideas around on what we could use them for. And then when we got here, we had all these ideas that we could use, and the first thing we did is we looked at the group that we had, and we found that we had people who were really good at CSS, and people who were good at HTML, and people who were good at learning the new data sets. And I know David learned all of FileMaker Pro this weekend. And and so the first thing we did is just look at what we had and what skill sets we had available to us. And so then we got really excited, and we were talking about maybe making a website that could combine all these things. And so what we did is we were going to have a website with a map, and it would have all the points of interest. It would have bike routes and route us around. And so we were doing that, and then we were saying, well, why can't we extend the city council website? So we went over and looked at it, and we realized that it hadn't been updated since 2003. And it was all written in Dreamweaver, or with Dreamweaver, and Dreamweaver is a running joke among most programmers about how terrible it is. So we decided to just start reworking on that. And then we also wanted the idea of an app, so we kind of split into 3 teams. One group worked on creating an app that we could use that would have a calendar and events. One group worked on adding these new features of pages with a map of like bike routes and points of interest. And the other group worked on updating and overhauling the CSS and the data structure of the websites. So I think that I'm handing this off to them.
Okay, me and a couple other people were working specifically on the map that we developed using ERC's ArcGIS API, and we took a map, we focused it on Longmont, we made it so that you could actually see both the roads or the house or pretty much anything. You could actually see a satellite image along with the roads. And we also thought it would be pretty cool if people could take pictures around town and you could actually see them on the map. So we plugged it in, or we plugged Flickr in through, so we could actually see some different sites around town. You could see people taking a picture and where everything is. And we also made it so that you could actually search for points of interest. Like if you want to get some coffee, you can search coffee and it'll show you coffee shops around town. Or if you search high school, like Skyline, you can actually see where Skyline is. You can come here and you can be at the hackathon. And now I think I'm going to pass this off to the people who worked on the website.
Yeah, so first of all, when we looked at the website, we looked at it and we were like, this could really use a facelift. We were thinking probably just styling. And we have to give credit to Susan because she's been working with this website for a long time. And just the way that it's formatted when it was given to her, and just the way that the amount of resources that she has, it would have been a complete nightmare to be able to overhaul this. So what we actually did was we went over, we talked with Susan, we got all of the templates that she uses for the website. And all of those files totaled over 16,000. So our Dropbox got pretty full pretty quickly. So what we did was we created a new template system using HTML5 and CSS. CSS3. So all of the newest gizmos and gadgets for web development. We also use JavaScript for some of the event handling and that kind of stuff. So we gave it a complete facelift, both with just styling. We made it look, hopefully that looks pretty to you. And then we also just were able to recreate the data structure. That way it would be easier to update, easier to maintain, and then now it's up to standard for most websites and most web browsers. So like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and the new Internet Explorer 10 and 11 it'll work for as well. So now I'm going to be handing it off to David Boshin.
So this was the app I was working on. It was originally going to be kind of just kind of general all-around Longmont, kind of a combination of everything we were working on put into one app, but kind of ran out of time because FileMaker Pro is a little difficult to learn in 3 days. So I ended up just working on the calendar portion because it was the one that we thought was the highest priority, and it turned out to be quite the simplest once I figured out what I was doing. So it's pretty simple because you have a record where you can enter a bunch of things, like the date, who's hosting it, and that stuff. And you can click submit, and it'll just direct it to the calendar database where it stores all the events, which is pretty simple, but difficult to understand when you're learning it as you're doing it. So, I don't know what else to say about that. Yeah, I think that's good enough. So, it's back to Seth.
And then, so with the 3 ideas combined, we tried to, when we updated the website, here's actually the website itself. We uploaded it to our server that we have with our computer club. And we pulled off every bit of data we could from the original website. But we also added like a point of interest, which is Nick's app. Oh, and some of the places don't have it, but points of interest over there at the top. If you can go there, Cameron. This is what Nick worked on. So if Cameron were to search like coffee, it will come up with the coffee shops in the area.
If you click on one of those blue points, it'll pull up a rating system of how well it was as well as the name.
Yes. And then also it's linked to Flickr, so we can use the pictures from the area that were taken at that place. And I think, Nick, is it with a tag that they were on? Or if you tag the picture and you take it with your smartphone so it has the geologic coordinates, then it will upload it automatically to this map and populate it from people who want to take pictures around Longmont. So that's really what we have. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
So I have a question. So this is Susan. Can you tell us what your other side apps that, like this one that you incorporated into the new template, what is that running on right now? What's your languages and frameworks that you use?
So on the website itself, it's in HTML5 and CSS. And so what it does is it has a page, the index.html, which all websites pull up automatically. All it is it has a different JavaScript function that pulls different HTMLs to it. So each part of the site has an index.html that's almost identical, except for a little title. And then it pulls from each spot. They have a main content, which is the middle if you want to go to like about Longmont. Oh, yeah, Cameron, you know this best.
So the template was just each template that was in here originally. There were 8 of them. They vary much from site to site, depending on who made it, when they made it, what was available to them at the time. So how this works is each web page is made up of 5 different HTML files, and they pull each separate page actually only pulls 2 different files. They all have the same header, the same left navigation bar, the same footer, and the same right bar, which I think the resolution is a little small to see it, but it has the City of Longmont's Flickr on there. And then, so the only thing that really changes page to page is the middle content. So, and the left nav, depending on if you're on a third-party site. But for most of the City of Longmont, it's just this left bar. But all of these files, the ones that will be used by third parties, they can take the files that they need and customize them to the extent that they need, but the files that they don't need to customize are not in their controls. So they have some flexibility, but there's still an overarching kind of theme to the website.
And what we used, so we didn't wind up using Ajax. I know that you had used that before. What we did was we just used HTML5, CSS3, and then JavaScript, and that was all that was used. So all of the mapping that Nick and Garrett did, all of that is in HTML5. A lot of all the styling is obviously going to be in CSS, and then some of the like tabbing features and like implementing maps and stuff, that's all done with small JavaScript files. So it's all pretty simple. It's all just pretty straightforward programming languages, easy to learn, easy to use, easy to maintain, which provides more sustainability. Any web developer that Susan will work with would be able to read our code, get it, understand exactly what it does and what it means without really any problem. So that was kind of what we were going for, especially if we do wind up ever giving this off to the city of Longmont, handing it off to you. It'll definitely be easy for you and your team to implement.
Okay, I have another question.
Go for it.
I understand that you use the Esri API. Which data sets were you using? Did you use any of our data sets?
No, I don't think we did.
Okay, but you use the Esri API?
Yes.
Okay.
And we used Flickr tags and not sure what they used for like the coffee and points of interest. So it's all just Esri. So yeah. Any other questions about the app, the website, or the extra mapping and points of interest? All right, in the back.
So from your perspective, in our community, is the point of interest the most important thing for you all to know about Longmont when you are jumping on the city's website, for example?
I think so. I think that, well, at least for all of us, we're in high school, so we're not really going to be going to a ton of city council meetings. We're not going to care as much about. I have been to 3 of them. I have been to 3, but most sometimes. But most of what I would be going to the City of Longmont website for is going to be like a calendar of events or points of interest. I'm going to be looking to see, well, where are some of the better, small coffee shops downtown? And using this, I just type in coffee, and then boom, I look in the downtown area. I can figure out, obviously, if it says Starbucks, I know it's a chain. If it's like the Luna Cafe, I know that it's going to be probably a smaller shop. If it's Ziggy's, it has the multiple locations. So there's just a lot of people that are just living in Longmont and may not be actively involved in any of the politics or policy-making kind of roles. I think that the points of interest will probably be the most important part of the website.
We appreciate you didn't put our homes on that. Thank you.
You're welcome. We thought about it.
I believe it's actually something that's built into Esri because I didn't really have to do anything specific for the finding coffee shops or anything else. It was built in with points of interest, part of your API that you found on your website.
All righty. Let's see who else is next.
Okay, so for the judges, that was the Longmont multi-tool. Okay. Next up is Constant Contact is the team name, and I want to call Nick. All right, so one of our own sponsors has entered the contest. Wasn't sure I was reading that right. So this is exciting. All right, so while he's getting set up, thank you guys. That was a great presentation. So we're going to try and get through all of the presentations so that the judges can go and look at our notes and evaluate and award, and that will be done between 4 and 5. So between 4 and 5, you're welcome to take a break, have some more food. I would encourage you to fill out our evaluation form. About 4 o'clock, it's scheduled to post on our Longmont Hackathon website homepage. Even the people in attendance, if you could give us your feedback, that would be greatly appreciated as well. So just visit our homepage on Longmont Hackathon. I'm running out of breath. Are you ready? Good. And so that'll be posted live at 4. Thanks.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nick, in case you didn't get it from my last presentation or while I've been here the last few days. So yesterday, my friend Elijah and I were here, and we were just kind of working on our little projects, answering questions, and I kind of looked at him like, why haven't we built an app yet for this? And we just kind of were like, good question. So we got together. Elijah worked on the Esri part of it. I worked on the constant contact side of it, as well as a little bit of the user interface, although CSS and I do not get along. I know how to use it, but it does not like me. So please do not laugh when you see the UI. What we got here is code, because I know that's what everybody wants to see. This is our API, just as proof that we used it. Hang on, my touchpad is not working. I'm just going to use the mouse. Why not? I'm just going to sit over here. And this is the Esri part. So, just proof. Just, in case you wondered. So what we got here, we threw everything up on GitHub so we could collaborate. And so the code is available there in case anybody likes this and wants to mess with it. You're more than welcome to go to this GitHub page, and I can give you that later. But we threw it up on Heroku, and this is what we have so far. So, yeah, this is the user interface. Now, the title of the app is Take Out the Trash, or something like that. That's the working title. Basically, living in Longmont, I know that I always forget which week is Recycle Week, and they were talking about that at the beginning of the presentation. And I thought, hey, why can't we get a reminder up? Send out an email the night before. So what I'll just kind of do here is I'll just act like a brand new person coming here, and I don't know what day or side I get trash picked up on. I completely forgot. So I'm going to click here, and it's just going to bring me right to a map. And each one of these little spaces here is residential area. So let me zoom into where I live. And I'm right here on, where am I? I'm somewhere around here. So that's mine. So hey, look, trash day is Monday, and my pickup location is east. So I'm just going to choose that. Going to send it back, automatically check in those boxes. Let me put in my address really quick. Sorry for putting down the mic. I've got to put in a fake email address that will actually work. So I'm going to submit this here. And now the back end of the system is not only going to put me as a contact into Constant Contact through the API, but it's also going to see what my day is and what my pickup location is and put me in the proper corresponding list. So now if I go to Constant Contact and reload this page really quick, and if anybody uses Constant Contact and this doesn't look familiar, that's because this is the super secret contacts 2. So, but if I search for me, could be in here somewhere, I'm sure. Where's there it is. So here's my contact, and you can see I was put in the Monday East list. So pretty straightforward there. The only other thing I was going to take a look at here and show you guys is, sorry, I'm just going to copy this so that I don't have to retype it. I'm just going to put this into the IO docs here so that you can see the result that you get back here, and I'll tell you why here in a second. So this is the contact information. You can see pretty clearly the list that I'm in. Here's the ID. So as long as we know to match that ID up to Monday West or East or whatever I was, then we know a lot about this person. So the reason I bring that up is this is a very extensible tool. So if we change the UI to include cell phone number, anything like that, there are a bunch of integrations that we can use to send somebody a text message instead of an email if that's what they want. And then the reason that I haven't set it up in here yet is because I can't really show a live scheduling of an email because that would take, well, I guess it would go out tonight, so only a few hours. But what you can do here is you can either have it be an automated process where you can set a script that says, hey, let's automatically just schedule all these emails to go out, the night before and let them know it's trash day or it's trash and recycle day. Or you could just have somebody go in and manually schedule stuff. So if there's anything, that you need to add that week, somebody just goes in, creates the templates and schedules them out to that list. So, and then of course the extensibility is awesome because all you have to do is, you know the contacts in there, so you can just grab it and see who's on this list ID, and let's send them a text message or something like that. So that is what I got. So, any questions, please? Yes, I have 2 questions. Let's go over here first.
Okay, so my standard, what was it built on?
Right, what was it built with? Thank you very much, I apologize. The main language that we built it off is PHP. Of course, there's HTML and CSS in there as well, and then as far as our Esri portion, we use their JavaScript API, and also the open data set from City of Longmont. We were happy to get their trash and recycle schedule. Yes?
My question is, all right, so when we have holidays, how does that change the emails? Is that built into the program so that if you usually have your trash pickup on Monday and it's a holiday on Monday and it's going to go out on Tuesday, does it send out an email on Sunday night or Monday night?
That's a great question, and thank you very. In case anybody didn't hear that, the question was about how are holidays handled. And the good thing about this script is they aren't right now because I didn't implement it into the scheduling structure. But it'd be easy enough. I mean, 5 lines of code probably to implement a scheduling structure automatically. And with that, you could either anticipate for holidays in advance, or if you're just having one person go in, weekly, schedule everything out. Everything can be done right there, and you can choose which day you want it to go out on. So, Yes.
I imagine the city knows, and I don't know if this is in the data set, whether or not what point of day these trash gets picked up. Because, say, for example, you think you're going to miss it, you approximately know from experience when trash and recycle might come if you work from home or whatever. So, can you also put in a feature that if somebody asked to be contacted 2 hours before pickup, that feature could be built into?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. It would need a little bit of tweaking as far as, I can actually show you really quickly here what it looks like on the back end through the UI. So I'm just going to jump here into my, and I closed everything. That makes sense. Well, I won't show you then. So, basically the contact lists are what really builds this all together. So actually, and I can kind of show you, I guess on this page that I have here, sorry. At the top of this page, I do the conditional formatting. So you can see just this long string of text, all it's basically saying is, what did you submit? If it was West and Monday, then this is your list ID. So going through that, putting in more conditional formatting and more lists, it's absolutely possible, it's doable. It'd probably be better for an automated system instead of a manual system, just because, that's a lot of lists to schedule out emails to. But it's definitely doable, because all you have to do is just tell the script to create an email, give it the content, and schedule it. So if you wanted it to get to you 2 hours before, schedule it for 2 hours before, and it'd be able to do that for you.
Any other questions? Sandy?
One in the back.
Hello. Where do you live? What city?
I don't know if I should tell you. I live in Longmont. I did. I've been here for most of my life. I moved here when I was 6 months old. Well, I was moved here when I was 6 months old.
Very good. We're proud of you being here from Longmont.
Thank you. I was really excited that everything was going on here. Of course, we'll also be presenting a small prize as well. But once everything was going, I just decided I wanted to get involved a little bit, build up something, and my biggest thing about this is that it's extensible. There's so much more that you can do it. This is just a framework, but as you saw through the Constant Contact site, it already works. So it'll be very easy to implement wherever you go. So, thank you.
Okay, our next developer is Dixon Dick. That's his team name. Are you solo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Storybox.
Storybox?
Storyboxes.
Storyboxes. That's the name of his app.
I'm going to sit behind the machine as one of my predecessors did. This is called Storyboxes, and what we wanted to, we are one half of a team. The other half is unfortunately, the front-end developer who didn't make it. So there'll be a lot less code here than anybody else, I think. So the idea was, with the open data that was presented, how could we get civic engagement from that? The goal was to go ahead and find ways to inform civic policy. We wanted to link the open data with the engagement. We wanted to encourage broad participation to create more data. And we wanted to end up creating some civic analytics that could be used by city management. The idea was something I just called open data jujitsu. So people have stories to tell. We love to use our social networking. We love to use Twitter. We love to use Facebook. How can we leverage that? Longmont has stories to tell. That's what we want. We are telling them as much as we can. So the idea here is use open data as a lever between the two of them to get that to happen. The tactic revolves around the fact that Twitter can actually capture where did you actually just make that tweet. Knowing that, what we wanted to do was draw geo story boxes, and that's why this app is all called story boxes. And what we want to do is we want to fill those boxes with tweets, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. When someone tweets when they're in a box, then the next thing that happened is that Longmont will tweet back to you with one of its stories. Let me talk about what I mean by that with the web admin box. I'll step out here. What's happening here is that on the website, what you'll do is you'll draw, using the Esri tools, you'll draw a box. In this box, which is exactly what we're calling a story box, there are going to be items of interest. These items are going to be drawn initially from the open data itself. It could be archival data or fixed data, such as this is where a building is, if you want to find out, for example, where you want to go get your driver's license. It can be information that's very dynamic. That could be, for example, cone zones, which is some of the data set that we were given. It could also be activity data about events that are going on about town. So you'll put these items in the story box. You draw the box and say, this is an item that is going to be belonging in the story box. That's what we mean by crowdsourcing stories now, is that besides the fixed data that comes, for example, from the city, you'll also have businesses that say, I would like to register to put stories in the story boxes. The Dickens Opera House wants to talk about their Sunday brunch. There are events going on, for example, at the Boulder County Fairgrounds, including all of the different vendors that are going to be there this weekend, not about last weekend. There are going to be cone zones there, but there's going to be a cone zone beer crawl at Oscar Blues. So we want to go and put those items in the story boxes. And then what happens, we'll advance here. A tweet happens in a story box, so I tweeted that this morning. So it's windy conditions today in Longmont, but get out there and cycle anyway. So this tweet occurred in the story box up in Hygiene by Mary's, where I usually grab a snack. Longmont tweets back to me. It finds that someone tweeted in the box and says, check out Longmont's microbrews and restaurants in their last year's Tour de Cure stop. And that's actually a live link that goes to that very same page. And it also puts up a hashtag for Boulder County Fairgrounds, where Longmont is not only tweeting back to the general public, but is also including information that's going to be part of the public record now that Longmont wants to talk about. So it's creating conversations about things, and this is what we mean by creating a story. Sorry about going back and forth here. There's a rotation in the story boxes. Everybody that wants to put something in the story box is going to be a selection that's going to be up there. And so just so you don't have the same story occurring over and over. And of course, that also means you can decide which stories are important, which are not, which ones are going to occur over and over. For example, the cone zones are things that are very important, that are very dynamic. This one says, learn about Longmont history and the Altona Grange on Nelson Road. Happens to be something that's nearby. It doesn't have to actually be in the story box. It just has to be an attractor that says, if you're in this story box, I want to tell you about a particular type of story. So the app, Longmont Calling. So at this point, what you're saying is, I want to have an app that's going to serve two different purposes. And the first purpose is, if I'm a user, like if I'm tweeting or I want to post something on Facebook, I would like to tell my story. We all love to tell our stories. We're very social. Enough said, everybody's into that. But what has to happen is there has to be the geo tag attached to it to find out whether it's in the story box or not. That's why we want to have an app. It turns out, if you look at the bottom, if you use hashtag Longmont Calling and you have geo tagging on, you don't need the app. It'll be captured as part of the story box's system. It'll capture it and it'll say, that's good enough. So this is just feeding that. So growth can happen quickly without necessarily using the app itself. And Longmont Calling becomes the brand. It may change its name, doesn't matter, but the idea that that's the brand. And then the user using the app will be able to collect different tweets and create their own stories. And if they're, for example, tweeting out, they're going to see that these are the things that they tweeted out about Longmont Calling, to give them a little library of things. Oh, I already said that. Or, no, I didn't say something about that. I want to say something about that now. And give them a place at least to reference it. If you're a contributor, you want to request, I would like to add something to the story boxes. I have a business. I have an activity. I have a conference coming through town or something like that. They'll go ahead and register themselves. Then they'll put in their location or locations that they care about. And then they'll fill in their stories that they want to go into the rotation. The interesting part about this is, in a short conversation with a city council member, I discovered that businesses are known in the open data set. My question was, how do they know that they're there? And the answer is that they have to be in the tax rolls. But if there's a business here that's doing business that's not in the tax rolls, you wouldn't know them. But if suddenly they find themselves saying, well, I want to put myself into this because I want to attract myself to business, you have exactly what you'd hope for, that you have people contributing information that you didn't know about. And that's what we mean by open data jujitsu. They're adding themselves to the data set. And that's what we mean by amplifying open data. So initially you have your open data. Open data jujitsu gets people to say, I want to say something. They're adding information to the corpus, and they're building it up. You can link to these tweets, you can link by the geo, that's to begin with. But in the future, you can say, well, let's go look at that data again. People are talking about certain topics, they're talking about certain keywords, they're talking about certain hashtags. You can even gauge their moods and say, well, cone zones generally are negative. Well, you know, that's no big surprise there. But there are other things that you could probably find that you didn't know about in the first place. Most importantly, the story boxes will help build a lasting engagement. That information is just going to build and build and build, and people will eventually begin to build out their own libraries and figure out what's going on, so that, again, every new story is contributing to the open data itself. At the end of this, by the time you're done, by the way, the initial boxes you saw were using the Esri software. This is the Esri mapping software. So we had the Esri input on one side, and this is the Esri output. You're able to use the mapping software to go ahead and use color maps, or heat maps as they call them, for example, to give quick analysis of some of the data. But over time, you'll find different tools to go ahead and create mappings for over time. You want to animate these, and you want to see how are things changing. Are they getting better? Are they getting worse? And you want to definitely engage the moods of folks as they use this tool to find out how people are feeling. That's right. Let me do a little quick demo here. This is not my site at all. This is the site called, just as it says, Tweet Real, but to give you a feel for what's going on out there. It's hard to imagine, without actually seeing it, what we really mean by real-time tweeting and geo-tweeting. This is what's going on live right now. So what I built, since I'm not the front-end developer, I built I didn't build this. This is what you attach to what they call the Twitter fire hose. You can attach to the Twitter fire hose and start pulling out information, and it'll tell you, for example, where something is, and that's what this particular app is doing. It's much easier to use theirs to show you what's going on. And so these are live tweets. And so what you'd want to do is be able to zero in on what's going on in the Longmont area and capture those tweets and make them part of the corpus. That's Storyboxes. Questions?
Actually, it says Sean Henry is next. So, Sean, why don't you get plugged in and then Jackson, you're next. All right, any questions for Dixon? I'm going to start with my typical one. What do you use to build your app?
There was on the back side a system called Storm, and on top of that was Python. For the front end, the building was started with HTML5 and CSS in a framework called Cordova, which also was discussed around here. It's called PhoneGap.
PhoneGap, and you used, what was the framework?
It's Cordova. PhoneGap is the same thing. They changed its name. So it's HTML6.5, and in the back end, it's just big data stuff.
And you are using an API, you said?
The Esri API was used to create the boxes. There's 3 different ways the API gets used there. One is to create the boxes. The second is to find out if something is in a box. And then the third thing is just to create the mapping.
And do you use any city data?
Yeah, the city data sets, there's about, truthfully, we didn't integrate any of them, but about a third of the data that's in there would be put into that as part of the mining. What it would do is for every story box, you'd run a batch job that would say, does this belong in this particular box? It's basically a box assignment. It's breaking the data out and saying where it belongs. It's a big sort. Some of the data is not relevant for that, like financial data. I don't think.
So if you didn't have a smartphone, say you wanted to do a bike ride and you knew you wanted, your route was going through a couple of different boxes, could you just go on your computer at home and do a virtual, I'm in this box, and then pull up maybe points of interest or, the code zone information before you leave the house?
That's a good question. Didn't think about that, no.
Because not everybody has a smartphone.
No, it was envisioned really for either smartphones or using the Twitter APIs and Twitter app. Frankly, if you did, let's say you used a feature phone and you did a tweet, the best that would happen is you would get back a tweet. You'd see a response that would actually be addressed to @Dixon1E, which is what mine showed. It would actually say, oh, I got a tweet back from Longmont. That's pretty cool. That's what I would get. So that's the easiest case. If you did that and you had the geotag, you probably would be getting more of what is said about it would be a keyword or a hashtag instead of your actual geolocation. Other questions? Sorry? No, the users don't see the story boxes. I don't know if you can see it. It said that was the web admin app. So Longmont is drawing those. Yeah, Longmont draws all the story boxes, and they're deciding these are the kind of things that we want to do. That doesn't mean they're not influenced by people that say, hey, could you draw a box around the golf courses? Which I did. So, do I want to draw a box around particular industry areas and call those a group of boxes and stuff like that? And obviously, you've got all of those different geofences. We can talk geo-turkey here, but basically, it's a big geofencing app in the back end. Yes, in the demo, I can back it up. The point was that, yes, boxes can very much overlap, and they probably should. Okay, thanks very much.
Can you guys hear me okay? Mike. Okay. So that doesn't look very good.
So your presentation, yep.
Looks like the resolution's a little bit funky, huh?
Oh, it actually looks fine. You
It
said
did?
full screen. There you go.
Okay. So find a hydrant. Just real quick so you guys know who I am. My name is Sean Helvey. I'm originally from California, and I lived in New York for a couple of years before coming out here to beautiful Colorado. You can tweet at me right there, at Sean Helvey. Let's see, the idea. I was speaking with some of the kind folks over there from the city, and Jim mentioned that there was some fire hydrant data. And I thought to myself, you know, I've seen houses burning down as firemen run around frantically out front trying to find a fire hydrant. So I figured it'd be a noble endeavor to try to build an app that would help them find a hydrant. And let's see. As I was working through that, Lisa provided access to the city's data through a REST endpoint. And Jeremiah helped out with some sample code from Esri. And Andy guided my implementation. So very little was done independently. Everything was done with the help of the people here. The implementation, this is my first time using PhoneGap. And if you leverage a framework like the ArcGIS API for JavaScript from Esri, then it's very easy to build a mobile application using PhoneGap without having to go through the fuss of building a native iOS app or an Android app. So, and I got that suggestion from my friend Jackson right here. So, thank you, Jackson. And let's see here. How does the browser look? Does it look okay to you guys? It does? It looks funny to me. But this is the endpoint that the city provided. So this isn't static data. This is a REST endpoint that Lisa guided me through. And I was able to basically change one line of code in the sample provided from Esri to use this URL. And all the data from the city's fire hydrants was placed into my code. This is the API for JavaScript. And this is the sample code right here. It's maybe a couple hundred lines of code. Really straightforward. Fantastic to use. This is the web app that we had up and running in just a couple of minutes. Hosted it just at my website. But it's available for everybody to go out there and play with if you'd like. And that dot is where we're at, here in Longmont. Skyline High School. Let's zoom in and find some fire hydrants. It's best to change the radius to be something smaller, or else you'll get several hundred fire hydrants, which might not be relevant for us. But so we just clicked and found fire hydrants in that radius. I should have added more fields. You can add fields such as valve size and identification number and things like that. But for now, you can see that these are the fire hydrants in the proximity. Now, if you want, I'm going to try to keep this presentation under 3 minutes, but if you want, you can go to this link here and actually put this on your phone, try it, and I'm going to pull the browser over so that you can see the other links there. But this is hosted on GitHub, so even if this isn't the production solution, I hope that it lights the fire under the feet of the people here in Longmont, and I hope that, yeah, sorry, but no, but I hope that you go on to build something more robust and stable that can actually help somebody in this situation. And so feel free to browse through the code here, and everything's on Hacker League. I don't know if anybody else submitted their apps through Hacker League, but mine's on there, and that's it, you guys. Thank you very much. It's been a great experience.
So, Sean, let me ask you some standard code questions.
Yep.
So just do the rundown again for us. What language are you using or frameworks?
I wrote very little code. But I'm sure that Esri JavaScript API has a little bit of HTML and CSS in there as well. So that's it. No back-end stuff at all.
And then you use PhoneGap.
PhoneGap, right. And so if you want to do fancy debugging locally like I did there, did I even show you the mobile app? I feel like I forgot to demo that. Yeah, so let's look at that real quick. PhoneGap here will allow you to see what this would look like on a phone. And this is what it would look like on an Android app, even though I've never built an Android app in my life. You can click and see the fire hydrants in radius. And that's, you know, kind of out of the box. That's what PhoneGap provides for you. And so, again, very little code was written to do that. It's cool.
Great. Any other questions for Sean?
Come on. No questions? 3 minutes? All right. Oh, we got one? I'm sorry?
You have to test bar hydrant pressures and go through several processes. Can you add that?
That'd be a question for Lisa. If that data is there, then it can easily be populated on the map. I don't know. I'm not sure if she'd know off the top of her head back there, but do you?
I'm assuming someone would schedule for when the hydrants are tested, when the ships are up. So again, that's just another table that we can add to the database.
And that's the type of thing that if you guys get in that kind of mindset, you could work with the city and have just about any kind of data that you'd like right there in the hands of your people. Sure. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so next we've got Jackson Roberts, and his app name is Longmont Elements? Elements? Events, okay. Peyton, are you up there?
Yeah.
Do you have a DVI, analog to DVI? Sorry.
No.
Okay. Do you have any analog to DVI? Or HDMI, I should say?
I have DVI to HDMI.
That'll work.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, great. Okay. Oh. This is DVI. Oh. That's HDMI to DVI. Okay. That takes it. Or a converter. It looks like it's a converter. All right, we'll have Open Bike Mike come up while we're looking for another plug. So Open Bike is the team name, and the app name is Open Bike Mike.
ended up wanting analog DVI. Huh? Hope you find it.
All right. Little technical difficulties for the technical people. My name is Open Bike Mike. I'm on Team Open Bike. We had two great helpers. Seth was our Android app programmer, and Brett came for moral support and also to help work on the presentation. He's our biz dev for Open Bike. So Open Bike's goal is to make better bike routes for the communities. If we can get the next slide. There are some problems right now with biking as it exists. If you've ever gone for a bike ride and hit a pothole, you've experienced it. If you've ever gotten lost on your ride, if you've ever gotten stuck in a puddle or had a road closed due to snow, you've experienced some of the problems that cyclists have while they are out and about. There's also problems with the current maps. If you're going from Longmont down to Boulder or even Longmont to a different community, you're going to cross through different jurisdictions. You're going to have different paper maps that can get damaged in the rain and can also get lost pretty easily. And if you're a government, you also have problems with cycling. Your main goals are to encourage cycling for many obvious reasons, such as it's good for your population with health, it reduces pollution, it's a sustainable form of transportation, the infrastructure costs a lot less money, and overall it makes for a healthier population. But you also may not know where you need to be spending your money, and it's sometimes hard to justify spending money on a bike infrastructure when you don't really know where people are going or how often they're using it. So the goal of Open Bike overall is to make biking better. So we get the next slide. So for Open Bike, the solution is basically to create a platform that aggregates bike usage data and combines qualitative ratings, that's like your Yelp reviews, with quantitative data, which would be the city data sets, to create a more complete and rich picture of the bike use and the bike infrastructure. So in the Open Bike platform, we will be taking in data sets such as crime with bike accidents and bike thefts, combining that with qualitative data that we are crowdsourcing. So the goal of today, we get the next one. So this is kind of how the Open Bike platform works. It's going to share data. So the diehard commuter is going to use our app to collect and crowdsource their usage data, and that's going to feed into the Open Bike platform that allows city planners and the casual cyclist to consume that knowledge. So yeah, the goals were to create an app that people could take with them that captures their bike routes in real time and then allows them to provide usage data about that ride. So we wanted to collect demographic information, age, sex, location of origin and location of destination, as well as information about that actual bike ride, like the time of the day, how far the trip was, where they started, where they ended. And we wanted to do this on a device that people carry with them everywhere, their phone. We decided to start with the Android application first. So our app is a native Android app written in Java. And we are going to show you a demo right now that's running on the emulator there. So this is the first screen you'll see when you open up the app. It collects the demographic information like your name, how often you cycle, and also your email address so we can reach out to you later. And this is the home screen typically. You're going to just start a trip. And we'll feed it some fake coordinate data right now, just so that you have something to see what it looks like. Oh, you might have gone too fast. So we'll start a trip, maybe. So normally what happens is after you record your trip, it will take you to a screen that allows you to provide the qualitative input about your bike route. So it will ask you to say if the route was safe, if it was easy to use, or if it was inconvenient for you. And these are the measures that most people use to ride their bikes. So 60% of the people would choose to ride a bike more often if it was safe, easy, and convenient. So we wanted to measure how people feel about the bike route that they just went on, if it fit those criteria. And I don't think we're going to be able to get to see that. But it also collects usage data about the purpose of the trip. So were you commuting? Were you going on an errand? Were you going shopping? Were you on your way to school? And this will just help us create a more rich picture of why people are using the bike infrastructure. So I have been running the app on my phone up here just now to collect some data. So let's flip over to the map. And we have the map of the high school up right now. There's no data points on there. So hopefully, since I just submitted my bike route, I forgot to rate it. Let me submit that real quick. Nothing like a live demo to really put your app to the test. And hopefully sometime in the future, the dots will pop up on the map. But that's okay. Demo failure. That's all right. So if we could flip back over to the presentation, we'll wrap it up here. Other tab. There you go. So this is a view of what the data capture actually looks like when you're on the bike. You have a starting point, an end point, and it'll capture data along the whole trip all the way through. Ideally, once we start to aggregate pictures of all this information, we can start to do queries on the data, such as, so if we go to the next screen, this is a view of what it would look like once it's aggregated. So in the red, you can see people that had given the route a bad rating, and in the green, you would see where people had given better ratings. And this is kind of the aggregate view. So ideally for a cyclist, this would help them identify places where they would want to go and also places where they would avoid. If you're a city planner, this would show you places where the infrastructure can be improved and where maybe there's a problem. So these are the kinds of use cases that we envisioning city planners and cyclists wanting to solve or answer. And once we have that rich data set available, something like how many people are coming from outside of my community into Longmont on a daily basis via their bike? Which ways are they going? Do we have more people in Longmont biking than outside of Longmont biking? What are the age of the cycling groups? Is it mostly males or is it females? And by getting a richer picture of the data, you can start to make decisions to influence the infrastructure to hopefully improve the quality of cycling in your community to increase the amount of people riding their bikes every day. So that's it. Thanks. Yes. Yeah, so this is a native Java application. For the mapping, we were using CartoDB just to grab the coordinates and put them in on a map. But we didn't get to see too much of that just now, but I would say mostly the app technology is all the Android Java.
And did you tie into any APIs?
For this project, we were kind of going along with the DIC philosophy where we are creating open data. We're not using open data. We have used the city open data sets for another part of our application, which is the quantitative data that we collect from the city. So now we're adding qualitative data for the city. And the whole thing is open. It's going to be accessible via an API.
And for your mapping, do you use any other APIs?
So again, this is basically a data collection application. So there's not going to be too much mapping that's actually being done. In the end, for the visualization of the mapping, we will need to tie it in with some sort of visualization mapping software. But for this hackathon and for this demo, we are just going to be sticking with the data collection.
We did finally get the...
Oh, there are the dots. So if you see a dot, yay! So if you see the dots, you can actually see the ratings that I had just given, the route of me just walking back and forth here. We can start to color code those dots and say like a 3 is yellow, a 5 is green, and a 1 is red. And we can start to aggregate different points in the same place over time. So those are the kinds of things that we envision the system being used for. Yes?
This would be also applicable to our whole system?
Yeah, the original intent of OpenBike was mainly built for urban commuting and urban transportation, so sustainability, because it's such a great form of transportation. Recreational and exercise-based use cases are very applicable here. So overall, we envision this used mostly by commuters, but also for some recreation. Absolutely. Yes?
So I know you had worked on this a little bit before the hackathon, and I wanted to know about how much of that was done before the hackathon.
So the actual part that we're working on for the hackathon and the demo, we didn't start any of that ahead of time, but we did build this all off of open data, open source code. So the whole application was a 3-year-old code base from San Francisco. We forked it, added in our qualitative routing ratings, and then we tied it into our own mapping backend. So most of the work that we did was adding the qualitative rating and then mapping it to our own backend. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Okay, let me check on Jackson.
Alright guys, they're on the online stream here. We're just waiting for them to fix up the slideshow here. They're working on getting some presenter's computer connected. By the way, there's 112 of you watching us live right now. The live feed for the Longmont Hackathon. For those of you watching us on the live stream here, we are just waiting for a participant to finish connecting his computer to our system, and we will be back up in a little bit. So we'll just keep holding this, and we're waiting for him to finish connecting his computer up. All right, audience. So we are still trying to figure out the connection issues here. With we're trying to get from DVI to VGA, and nobody seems to have an adapter around here. So we're trying to hack our way into making this whole thing work. So stay with us here as we try to figure this out. We'll update you as we know more information. But right now they're just trying to figure it out. How many people does it take to figure it out? You know. We'll be back in a little bit. Just keep staying with us. For those of you that are out on the internet watching us live right now, we are still trying to figure out what's going on with some of our connections for our presentations. We have students that want to show their computer screen, and the connection is having some issues right now. So they're sorting through it right now, and I'll let you know as soon as we are going back up. Guys, we have an update coming from the floor down here in just a second, so we can show you guys what's going on. So we'll be up in just a second. We want you over there talking to the audience through what's going on. That's what the lapel's for.
So the issue has been we've got a bunch of older laptops here that we're missing VGA and DVI conversion cables for. And so what we're doing is to work around that. We've got a computer that works and feeds into the presentation just fine. So these guys are joining a Google Hangout. They're putting a Google Hangout together, and then Susan will make them the presenter, and they'll be able to show their stuff. So we're using technology to fix the problem because we don't have the hardware to do it. And they are all gathering up here, so yeah, we should be ready to go here in just a few minutes. We're good, man. We're good.
Hello everybody in the stream. Just to let you guys know what we're up to, we are currently creating a Google Hangout so that the people that are involved trying to share their screens can share it up on our projector here. Not sure how much longer it's going to take, but it looks like they're getting places. You can see on the screen right now that they're getting ready to share out some screens. So we're just waiting for them to finish doing that, and we should be good to go. All right, everybody on the stream, it looks like we are getting ready to start back up again. So if you want to tune back in, we're getting ready to start.
So we have Jackson Roberts with Longmont Events.
First of all, I'd like to apologize for that. We didn't have a cable, so right now we're just streaming it over the internet. So I made Longmont Events. It's open source and on my GitHub. And use no proprietary tools, so it's all free. So what it does is, I noticed that Longmont has very good calendars. They're very well maintained and they have everything on them, but they're decentralized. You can't see everything that's going on without visiting multiple calendars. The city keeps their own, downtown Longmont keeps their own, the library keeps their own calendar, and I thought, and also none of them have mobile websites. So if you want to just find out what's happening tonight and you're on your phone, it's very inconvenient. So I wrote something that aggregates all of the calendars into one friendly mobile interface. So the technology I used was I used PhoneGap, the fire hydrant app. With PhoneGap, I used the JavaScript, HTML, CSS of jQuery Mobile. I used Python for the backend server, which scrapes the websites, and I used Longmont's data, which was in the websites that I scraped. So I'll go ahead and do a demonstration of the app. Screen share. Here's my simulator. So as you can see, it's just a very basic interface. You've got a date picker here. So you can choose whatever day you want, and it immediately pulls the appropriate events from the API. If you visit something without any events, it just tells you there's nothing. So let's go to the 15th. So tomorrow, this is data that I pulled from the city website using the Python script. There's prospect deets and a poetry slam. I like prospect deets, so let's just hit more info. So it's got a nice little description. It's got the date, the time, the location. And this is a feature that sort of lets people know how popular events are. And that's just a count of how many people are going. And I love prospect deets, so I'm going, and it automatically updates that for everyone. It's got some share buttons, and also each event is assigned its own Twitter hashtag. And I'm the only one who's tweeted there, so it's just showing me. The app also will have a map feature in the future that's not yet implemented. And that's about it. That's what Longmont Events does. I hope it makes it more convenient to find what's going on in Longmont at any given time. Are there any questions?
You can ask your question. You already put it out there. Okay.
Okay.
So I know you screen scrape our current data.
Yes.
Is there a way to add new data? Who controls static events? How does that work?
Well, to get a little bit technical, it's running on a server with a cron job that runs a bit of my API, which scrapes your web pages. So if Longmont wants to update Longmont Events, which is an app that everyone can use, it's nice. All you do is update your websites, and the app responds, which is hopefully going to be useful. Oh, yes. Yeah. It's only built for iOS, but I could port it to Android if I want. Yeah. So, it could be for Android. You, ma'am?
So, how about businesses that might be the entertainment venues like Jaspers, the theater company, Dickens Opera House? How would they add events for the app?
Well, it has two sources primarily. It's got the Longmont websites and then a database of user-submitted events. So if they wanted to, they would simply sign up for an account, and this would be moderated so George doesn't put his garage sale as a citywide event. But so jesters would sign up for an account, and they can just push immediately to the servers, and then it would show up for everyone. Yeah.
So Visit Longmont has an open place where people can just put their events also on their RSS calendar. So as soon as it shows up on the Visit Longmont site, approved by Visit Longmont staff, then it pops on that.
Yeah, this.
Like a wiki application.
No, Visit Longmont, it's just a simple form you fill out. Okay. It's moderated by Visit Longmont staff.
Right. It's not a wiki because it is moderated in that respect. Okay. People just don't put up anything like the garage sale. They actually go through Sue and Visit Longmont, and actually she approves that yes, this is an organization within Longmont, and this is an event for them.
Yeah. So I have a question.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
can you name again the websites that you're watching?
Currently, it watches in its current form. It's just every time I run the scrape task, it pulls from what's the moderated? It pulls from Visit Longmont and Downtown Longmont, which both maintain their separate calendars. And I hope to implement a library calendar in the future.
And is it pulling from the city's calendar?
I thought the Visit Longmont one was the city's calendar.
That's
Okay,
okay.
all I can add takes very little time to add calendars, so it can handle practically infinite sources.
Okay. And are you using any specific APIs and so it state those again?
For the web scraping,
For any project that you did are you connected to any API?
well, I'm using the beautiful soup Python library for the web scraping, but that's not an API; it's a library.
Beautiful soup?
Yes.
Any other questions for Jackson?
Yes, ma'am.
You're cool. It's not a question. Understand. That's on and you're our numbers participants, so
Thank you.
very interesting.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have Andy with an app called Civic Engage.
Isn't technology grand? So, I'm Andy, and I'm here for Civic Engage. And let's just jump right into it. You can read that. So, the overview. Call to engage the city. Basically, every page I thought instead of showing users political views or how they feel, I wanted to create an app where people could really just jump up into the action, whether it be start a volunteer activity, start a new book reading group at the library, get information on events, log in to go to and sign up to go to those events. Just everything to really get people out there in a physical presence and engage with their city in any way possible. So I'm going to show you a few of the methods I've done so far to push that. So we're going to keep in constant contact. It's going to be Esri everywhere. And yes, I'm sorry for the horrible pun. That was just bad. And then I'll talk about my plans for the future. And Susan, just to let you know, it's built in JavaScript, PHP, MySQL, Esri, and Constant Contact. So now you can think of another question. All right, let's get right into it. So we'll start it right up here. Give it a minute to boot up. By the way, I'm using Titanium so that this app will be available on both iPhone and Android. As soon as it likes me. It's just taking a little longer since it's going over the Google Hangout. Oh, curiosity. That's just what I call my freelance stuff. It's also a combination of my last name and curiosity. Yeah. Let's try this again. Let's play nicely. Yes. So, anyway, while we're waiting for it, what's going to happen is the first time the app opens, it'll go to and you'll see your basic selection menu, so you can select engaging events, so you can see events all across the city. You can see the artworks, the parks, the libraries, all kinds of stuff, and then you'll eventually be able to see areas in either green or red rectangles that illustrate the areas of greatest engagement at that point. Great for people who maybe want to get out for a day and do a project or the like. They can get out there, they can say, oh, this project, there's a lot of people going, I can sign up and go there. It's also great if you're a part of city management to see where are the most people going, where are the most people spending their time. And that will eventually be based off of tweets, Foursquare check-ins, Facebook status updates, and check-ins from the app as well. Yeah. Let's try this again. Play nice. Yeah. put all the weekend into building an app, and then it doesn't work. Yeah. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shoot a video of the app, and I will post it so that everyone can see it. Does that sound good? Woohoo! Okay.
If you're just tuning into our live stream now, we are working, there's a presenter presenting an app that requires a little bit more graphics power or something, and it won't display over Google+. So they're trying to figure out a solution to let him present his app on the screen. So keep holding on here, we should have something up for you soon.
Just to let you know, it is a problem with the simulator, not the actual app. Just want to make that clear. Okay, so, as you can see, it'll pop up with the latest news here at the bottom. You'll have the engage. This is the most difficult thing I've ever done yet. As you can see, there's red and green boxes here that show where the highest levels of engagement are. Oh, you're trying to get me. Okay. Just want to be clear who we were trying to shoot. Click on points and get them displayed. You can go forward, get more information about the point, and start conversations. You'll be able to add volunteering points if you need to. And put, yeah. Yeah, wait, I gotta back up. Okay, if I do that and maps. Yeah. Yeah, wait, 1 second. I've got a great idea that's going to be very simple.
hang on, he's going to record his screen. The resolution between two screens trying to capture each other is not quite working.
Longmont Hackathon, 2013, to the right. There you go.
Thank you all for being so patient. So, we have the engagements, small delay. Get it? It'll even pop up and tell you if there are any events for that area. I know you can't talk to me, but that's where it'll say, excuse me, where the events are. Go back. Find out book groups near you. That Longmont Hackathon winner might be just a little pushing it right now. And I think it finally hates me enough to not work anymore. Okay. There we go. Sorry that the presentation was less than thorough there. Thank you. But, questions?
Can you go through again for us what each of those buttons, can you explain what each button is?
Yeah, so what will happen is on the Engage tab, it'll open up a map, which eventually you can also turn into a list view, and then that'll point you to every point in Longmont, whether it's a point of interest, the arts that are currently through here, libraries, businesses if they would like to be included in that, and then you would also be able to see on the map the engagement levels at each spot. And those would be highlighted in either red or green, red being that this is a sustained engagement, or green being there are a lot of people here at this present moment.
And how does someone add their event or location or business?
They can either do that from the app, and then that'll send it to Esri's database, where it's currently pulling from. Or if they're currently listed in Google as well, it'll also pull from Google to make sure we have the data for them. So they should, when this gets fully functionalized, have to do absolutely nothing.
And tell us I know you said you got the API from Esri, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And did you say you're doing something with constant contact?
Yes, I am. So the constant contact part will be when you go to the groups or when you go into the events, you'll be able to register with the constant contact. So that it'll be able to send you an email blast when that event is happening, so that you don't have to worry about, oh wait, when I sign up for this event, when is it? Or I can't remember, did I sign up for it or not? It'll contain that information and shoot it back to the constant contact. You'll also be able to create groups or create a newsletter for certain groups, so you could base them around books, you could base them around movies, what have you. And then that will start with a constant contact email backing so that you can send up newsletters and information to the groups or create areas to have group meetings.
And how are you using the Esri API? Are you connecting to any of our maps or our data?
Yes. So I'm connecting to Esri by getting all those data points. And then I am using the Longmont database to hook up and provide further information on that. So such as the images of the yards or the description of the yards, where they are. Yes?
So say, for example, it's not a scheduled event, per se, from the city's point of view. Say, for example, a neighborhood has a cleanup of their neighborhood park that day. Can this event be picked up from someone tweeting, we're starting at the south end of the park, please get your bags and gloves here?
Yes, that is also part of the app where you'll be able to actually create volunteer events. And then that will appear on the map. It'll send that data to Esri as well, so they'll pick it up. So then anyone else using Esri can see that event happening. And then along with the tweets and the Facebook posts, it'll show people that that's something that's happening now.
So when people go to this event, they register using Facebook? I guess I'm not understanding.
It'll all be through the app. So you can create the event on the app. It'll ask you for those primary points. And then once those are entered, it'll send it to Esri, and then it'll automatically update on the map. So anyone with the app can see it. Then you can further enhance the location or visibility of the event by sending out Facebook messages and tweets.
Any other questions from the group? All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was our presentation. I know we went way over. We had some technical difficulties, but with all of our staff here, thank you. We got it to happen. Thank you very much. Peyton, you were a big player in that. Now it will be up to the judges to go off and take a few moments and try to review all of that information that we were just presented with and come up with your winners. All right, so stay tuned. We'll be back.
All right, everybody out there, to the 117 live viewers, hope you're all doing well. Right now, we are going to take a little break between the presentations and the judging, and the final awards. We might be doing some interviews in between here, so stay tuned. Just keep this in the background or keep it on a second monitor if you're a hacker. We'll be back in a little bit. Thanks for watching, guys.
with us as we take a break. Continued coverage of the Longmont Hackathon will resume shortly. Heading out? Take us with you on your mobile device and watch the hackathon live from anywhere. Visit www.longmonthackathon.com and look for the live video player.